Alright, let's start this again. I initially recorded a version of, or started recording a version of this for a few minutes, and didn't realize that the mic wasn't being picked up because I had to change the settings after updating OBS. So, yeah, guys. So, here we are. If you, so Kingdom Hearts, the games 1 to 3 are officially coming to Switch. They announced that at the Nintendo Direct that just happened earlier in the day from when I'm recording this. Uh, and we officially, and Kingdom Hearts 4 is also going to be on Switch, Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. Day one, they are officially doing that, and that's great because the CEO, the current CEO of Square Enix, very much has the mindset of let's do multi-platform shit so we can make as much money as possible day one, rather than only banking on the PlayStation audience. So yeah, and it doesn't cost a lot of extra money to port everything while you're developing a game to different systems. Xbox and PS5 are pretty much on or in parity with each other in terms of hardware and software, so it's easy enough to do that. Um, Same with PC, and you can have extra special specs on PC. Switch might be a little bit more cumbersome to port to, but they may have a support staff that is helping Osaka team with that, so it's fine. So yeah, but we have official SKUs of the games coming to Xbox Series X and S and PS5 later this year. They have officially listed pre-orders for them on Xbox and PS5. So if you go on there, you can buy the games for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S right now digitally. There are physical versions of the 1 to 3 collection coming to um, PS5 and Switch, not Xbox because, well, I guess they don't want to waste the money producing physical copies. Apparently, I think Microsoft also has like weird demands for, or not demands maybe, but standards or something like that for like retailers to buy certain amounts of physical copies. Plus, the last time that Kingdom Hearts came physically to Xbox, that was Kingdom Hearts 3, and unfortunately someone stole a handful of physical copies and was starting to sell them online, and also played through a little bit of the game and did recordings and everything to make sure that people knew that they were real. And then I think some people bought some of the physical copies, and then gameplay and everything was starting to come out way before the game came out. So yeah, like a week or two before. So yeah, so that sucks. But yeah, that's not Xbox's fault, and I don't know if they're blaming Xbox or if they're blaming the guy who actually stole the copies, but yeah. Um yeah, so we have official SKUs for 1.5 plus 2.5, 2.8, and 3 plus Remind on here. So yeah. But and this is a thing that's also, I think, actually no, it's actually I don't think it's on the PS5 versions of these. But yeah, I'll talk about the pricing in a second. But when you go to the pages for these games, this is the same on the consoles as well. You go to the More tab, and if you just scroll down on the Xbox store on the console itself, and you go to languages supported, you see English United States, audio, interface, and subtitles. Then you can see which other languages have the interface and subtitles in the languages. So yeah, translated I think from the English ones. So for the subtitles. So you go to Japanese audio. Japanese. Yeah. So this is consistent with all three of these, by the way. So you see audio, Japanese, and then 3 plus Remind. This didn't surprise me because the PC version. So Okay, I'm gonna go over this really quickly. Kingdom Hearts in terms of the Japanese and English audio. So first of all, I think 1 and 2 got official French, German, and Spanish dubs. Those are the only alternate language dubs that happened for those specific games back in the day. Every other Kingdom Hearts game, and even the re-releases in the HD collections, only use the English dubs. Outside of Japan, those are the only dubs that you can find on the modern HD releases of these games anywhere. There are mods for the PC versions of the games to mod back in the audio from the PS2 releases of the games for the German, Spanish, and French dubs. So if you want those, you're gonna have to download the PC versions and mod them in. So yeah, and I believe there's an unofficial fan dub for 3 in, I think, French, or maybe that was started. I don't know how far that got into production, but yeah, and I think that was done by fans. Um, I'm not sure if there was like a Spanish dub that got started or not, and definitely not a German dub as far as I can tell. But yeah, and that's mainly because 1 and 2 have extra cutscenes in the final mix versions. 1 kind of cleverly used audio from earlier in the game from different cutscenes for what they wanted, and I assume they just remixed the same like instances of those audio from the Japanese version or the Japanese dub for that version of the game. And 2, they they recorded the dialogue for the extra cutscenes for the final mix version when they were putting 2.5 together. And they brought the actors back that needed to record that dialogue. So, yeah. And yeah, why they didn't get the actors to record this audio way back for Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix while they were recording the dub for Kingdom Hearts 1, and for 2, maybe after, when they were putting like 2 Final Mix together, because in the PS2 release of 2 Final Mix, they literally just had, I think just subtitles, and then, they, they had, what was it? They had subtitles, and for the Organization 13 fights, the Data Org, the extra ones that didn't have English voice actors at the time, they just had the Japanese, like, devs voice them, I believe, if I remember right. Who also voiced them, I think, in the original version of Chain of Memories, and I think Re-Chain of Memories when it was released in Japan. So, yeah, who went on to be, I think, their official voice actors later on. But yeah. Now, because the Japanese releases of 1 and 2 Final Mix, as well as I think Birth by Sleep Final Mix, used the English dubs as a base. For Birth by Sleep Final Mix, the extra content that they put into that, they, I'm trying to think. They used, fuck, I'm trying to remember. They, they, uh, they had the Japanese actors, I believe, record the dialogue. So yeah. So for that, it was basically to honor, from what I understand, to honor the English voice actors of the Disney characters, if I remember right, from what I've heard. So they wanted to, because they're their original voices and everything. So yeah, so they wanted to do that. So on the PS2 versions of 1 and 2 Final Mix, you only have the English dubs. So, yeah, and they were Japanese only. So we just had that shit. So yeah. Now, for 3, when Remind was released in Japan, the Japanese, or the English dub was added as an audio option for that game. You could replay the base game with the English dub, and you could play Remind with the English dub if you wanted for the Japanese release of that game. I have no idea why the international versions didn't get the Japanese dubs or dub for the game, but whatever. This carried over to the PC release of 3 and Remind, where on PC, you can switch the language to the Japanese dub if you wanted. Now, for 1.5 plus 2.5, in the PS4 and PS5, and I think original Switch and PC releases, um, there was no multi-audio support. I remember reading that Tetsuya Nomura was asked if 3 would get multi-language support, I think, or maybe it was either that or the HD collections when they were coming to PS4. I think it was 3 though. And he said that that would take some doing to do, and basically that's just that's just kind of um developer talk for no, we're not doing that. Um so yeah. Um but eventually they did for 3, like I said. Only for the Japanese version, and then that got put into the international releases of the PC versions. I'm not sure about the Switch Cloud versions. Someone will have to tell me that in the comment. Yeah, in the comments if that is the case. Um, so yeah. Um, so for 3 plus Remind coming to Xbox Series X and S and PS5, it does, and Switch 2, it does not surprise me that they pretty much are just porting, I think, the PC version to these consoles. That I completely expected, and it makes sense to me. The earlier HD collections for 1.5 plus 2.5 and 2.8 having the Japanese dubs, though, is a surprise to me, considering that they didn't even like take the time and effort to put those on the Steam and Epic Game Store versions of the games. Why they didn't do it earlier, I don't know. It seems like those versions were just like quick ports. Mainly the Xbox version was a quick port from the PS4 because, like, again, like similar architecture and everything, and it doesn't really it didn't really add too much developer cost and time, I think. I think the rumor is that they had like what, 1 or 2 guys working on them. So literally it's just porting over the code and then changing the face buttons, changing the PNGs for the face buttons, and maybe some of the other text. From the PS4 like text to the Xbox equivalents. So that's fine. Although, from what I remember seeing, there's apparently like a bug in the data org fight for Xemnas in Kingdom Hearts 2 where what was it? The PS or the PlayStation face buttons are still visible during, I think, when you switch to Riku during that fight. I haven't gotten that far, so I don't know. But yeah. They're also unfortunate. So yeah, and I'm just gonna say this: I was fully waiting for at least a 9th gen console port of 3 because here's the thing: 3 could really use the upgrades in terms of the visuals. Mainly because it was stuck on PS4 and PS4 Pro as well as Xbox One and One X. The game cannot go up to 4K. I believe. I think it's like sub 4K, and then it could only reach 60 FPS if you played on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, or even an S, or maybe just the X, I'm not sure, because of the better hardware and everything in those consoles. It could not reach a full 60 FPS when playing on the original consoles that the game was made for, because of, well, the architecture of the consoles and everything, and the CPUs, I think, being lower, I think it is. So yeah. So yeah, and I like that the Xbox versions are saying integrated PC and mouse support, so if you want to play that game, or that way you can go ahead and do that. So yeah. Although, no, this is the PC version. Interesting. Um, but yeah, it is weird though that, yeah, it's a smart delivery. Okay, so it's maybe both. I don't know. But yeah, so we have that. Also, right, I was gonna say this for 3. This is a bug that apparently existed in the original version of the game. It didn't crop up on PS5 when I replayed the game on PS5, but when I was replaying the game on Series X for the original port of the game to Xbox One, there was a bug that was really odd, and I have not encountered this in any other game when playing on Xbox Series X from the Xbox One version, or any other real game like this. So, I think I talked about this during my replay of the game, a few years ago when I did it. I think this was 2021 or 2. You can go and watch the playthrough on this channel if you want. At times, randomly, the cutscenes will have a bug where the audio will skip. Yeah, mainly the dialogue. The dialogue will have chunks that will skip for no reason during the cutscenes randomly. It doesn't make any sense. It's not consistent. And literally multiple times I started recording like parts of the games and had to stop the recording and redo whole sections by reloading the save file that I had previously made, specifically because in between like parts of the game or parts of the recordings, to re-record it. And I had to do that multiple times at some sections, I remember. So yeah, I don't know why this bug exists. It does not make any sense to exist, and they didn't fix it for the Xbox One versions. I don't know if anyone else encountered this. It seems like a very rare bug, but it is a bug in these games. So I'm assuming the official port of Kingdom Hearts 3 and Remind to Xbox and PS5 will either eliminate that bug or make it very rare, extremely rare, to happen. I'm hoping that that's resolved, because that was a weird bug, and it did not make any sense to me to be happening. It also just didn't make any sense to me to be happening on only Series X, but not PS5. But from what I understand, the PS5 runs PS4 games in a PS4 mode. It just allows for like higher resolutions and frame rates because it runs the PS4 Pro versions of the games if the games did receive Pro enhancements. Although also if the base versions of the games also had like higher frame rate modes or anything, they got a boost. So, yeah. So I'm just assuming that bug will be resolved and we can just go back to playing the games normally on Xbox. Now the prices. So I already pre-ordered these, but you can see right here, the collection 1 to 3 is $37.50 for me. Now, if you have not purchased these games digitally on Xbox, PS5, or Xbox, PlayStation, actually, because the PS4 versions, or on Switch, the baseline price of the games in the collection 1 to 3 is $75 US. If you have previously bought the games, though, you can get the games for 50% off their base prices. Now, something I will say is look at the prices of the original Xbox versions. So 3 is still $60. 1.5 plus 2.5 is still 50, and 2.8 is still 60. Melody of Memory is, I don't even think it's worth $24, but okay, it's currently on a sale, which is fine. The Xbox Series X versions are $40 base price, because you see the minus 50 there. And the reason why I have this minus 50% off thing is because or minus 50% is because I previously bought the digital versions of these games. Now for 1.5 to 2.5 plus 2.8 plus Melody of Memory, you can only buy these games digitally on Xbox. PS4 has physical versions. Kingdom Hearts 3, you can buy a physical version of the game on Xbox. I did buy that day one. But yeah. So, and this doesn't even come with Remind, which is Remind here? Let me see if add-ons. Here we go. Remind here. Currently 60% off, which is fine. Oh yeah, you have the 2 DLC Keyblades as well. So, Remind, if you just want the DLC without the concert video, it's $12, although normally 30. The Remind plus concert video is $40, though it's $16 right now because it's 60% off. So this is really fucking dumb. Then you have these two. I think these will be included in these. The Phantom Green Keyblade will. I don't know about the Dawn Till Dusk, which this was in Japan, this was a 7-Eleven exclusive Keyblade. You could get the download code by buying something at 7-Eleven, which, if you don't know, 7-Eleven's pretty big in Japan, so it ultimately makes sense. If you've never been to Japan, that sounds stupid, but like, seriously, I've been to Tokyo twice, so it's like, yeah. Convenience stores are all over the place. There's like at least 4 different chains for convenience stores, and a lot of Japanese people shop at them a lot. So, and they stock on a lot of good food. So yeah, for decent prices. So yeah, um, I may actually buy Melody of Memory now that that's 60% off. I still don't think it's worth this price, but at least that's better than 60 fucking dollars. Anyways, so yeah, $75 US for the 1 to 3 collection. Though if you just wanted specific games and you bought them digitally on Xbox, they're $20 now, but they're $40 base price. So this is a thing that I am of two minds about. On the one hand, I do appreciate the discount. On the other, the fact that Square Enix isn't giving these versions of the games to us for free is extremely grimy, to quote a friend of mine. Now, they are coming out on October 6th, this says. Now, I think the official thing is actually October 8th. But it says players who pre-order by 11:59 p.m. on October 7th, 2026 will have 48 hours early access. So you get to play the games 2 days early if you pre-order these. So yeah. Now, in terms of the value you're getting, if you have never purchased these games before and you want to purchase them on Xbox or PlayStation, the 1 to 3 collection is probably the best price you will get, at least digitally. Physically, there are the PS4 versions that I think they were rebundled, because there was a previous bundle with 1.5 plus 2.5 and 2.8 before 3 came out. Then after 3 came out, they rebundled that with 3. So you have that, plus the Remind DLC. Currently, it's on sale, so if you get that, you can buy the Remind DLC and you'll be fine. That's less than $100, I think. This is $75. You're getting 10 games worth of fucking content. You're getting 1, 2, 3 plus Remind, Rechain of Memories, Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, 0.2, and then the cutscene movies for 358 Days Over 2 and Recoded, plus what is technically a cutscene movie in fuck it, what's it called? Union Cross, I think, right? The Union Cross movie, basically. Let me actually go here because it'll have it right here in the listing. Key back cover. There we go. You're getting like 10 games worth of content. You don't have to play through the shitty gameplay of 358 Days Over 2. You don't have to suffer through the shitty story for that long. The cutscene movies are like 3 hours each. So yeah, I think that they should add more cutscenes to 358 Days Over 2 to provide certain context and shit for the story of that game. But yeah. So yeah, but otherwise, this is probably the best deal you're going to get, at least digitally, for these games and for the next gen console versions. If you already have these games digitally, you're getting them for $37.50 with tax, at least in New York State. That brings it to $40. If you have, at least on Xbox, if you have rewards points through the Bing rewards system, you literally can get discounts or like Xbox like codes for, or not even codes really. You can redeem those points for Xbox like cash, whatever you want to call it. And that'll bring the price down. I already had a $10 thing for this, which brought it down to 30 something, 30 and change, when the tax was included. Then I had enough points to get it $4 more down, so I literally got these for 26 something. So Xbox, you're probably gonna get the best deal out of all the the versions of this. I'm not even gonna, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you guys, because I think Microsoft has a good thing going with the Bing reward system. So, yeah. PlayStation, you're kind of screwed if, I know that they have their own reward system. I think they stopped it, though, and for me, I never got it to work. For some reason, when I went to redeem for, I think, a $10 thing for PlayStation, like, gift card, whatever, money, it didn't work for some reason. I could not redeem my points with that, and I have no idea as to why. It made no sense to me. I tried multiple times, it didn't work. So, yeah. So in terms of what's going to be in these, besides the multi-language support for the audio, which is nice, it's also going to have multiple, like, subtitle options, multiple, like, interface language options, which is nice. So no matter where you're playing this, you're getting the same SKU of the game, the same version of the game as everywhere else. This is going to be pretty much the ultimate release of these games, at least for now. So this is basically as good as it's going to get. Digitally, you're probably getting the best deal if you already have these games digitally. But yeah, PC versions, you'll probably just get an update when they release in October. For the multi-language support and everything. Because these, I think, are just ports of the PC versions, which with a few added bells and whistles, like the multi-audio support, as well as the DLC keyblades and everything, for every console. Because, like I said, so you have the Phantom Green keyblade on PS5. You're getting the Midnight Blue keyblade, I think it is. On Switch, you're getting that keyblade. PC, you're getting that keyblade. So I think there's actually two different ones for the Epic Game Store and Steam versions. So, yeah. So I'm assuming that's just going to be a download for the PC version. So maybe the PC version is maybe the best version you can have. So yeah. What's going to be here is the upscaled for 1.5 plus 2.5. You're going to have the upscaled assets, the AI upscaled assets from the Steam release that got added to the Epic Game Store releases of the game, or release of the games, and everything. And yeah, I expect that to be there. And it just seems like we're gonna have like I said, the ultimate releases of these games. One thing I would love for them to do, though, is go back to the cutscenes of Rechain of Memories, 358 Days Over 2, and Recoded, and re-render those in 1080p. With added, what is the word? I'm trying to remember, fuck, I'm trying to remember, uh, fuck, it's like anti-aliasing. There we go, anti-aliasing. When I was playing through Rechain of Memories, and I was watching 358 Days Over 2 and Recoded, the cutscenes for these games, because the cutscenes for Rechain of Memories and the pre-rendered cutscenes. So the cutscenes for Rechain of Memories, at least most of them, are pre-rendered. The cutscene movies for 300 Days Over 2 and Recoded are pre-rendered. However, they were pre-rendered for the PS3 release of these games, or of these collections, and thus they do not have proper fucking anti-aliasing applied to the character models. So, as a result, these do not look good. However, there were a couple, I believe, of, or maybe it was just one, of the of cutscenes added to 358 Days Over 2, as well as the cutscenes that were already finished from 2 Final Mix, and re-rendered in 1080p, with proper anti-aliasing for the PS3 release of the game, or of 2.5, where the cutscenes that are from 2 Final Mix were put into 358 Days Over 2's cutscene movie, and thus they have proper anti-aliasing, plus the added cutscene that was added for the PS4 release has proper anti-aliasing and is properly rendered in 1080p. However, these cutscene movies and the cutscenes for Rechain of Memories otherwise have no anti-aliasing, and I think are stuck at 720p. That's my assumption as to what resolution they are. They're either 720p or 1080p, but they don't look good because of the anti-aliasing. I really think that they should go back and re-render these cutscenes properly with anti-aliasing, because otherwise they don't look good. I'm not even gonna lie. I had the cutscene movies on my gaming channel, so if you want to see those, you can go watch those. But yeah. Um uh 2.8 Final Mix or Final Chapter Prologue, I don't think this has really anything wrong with it in terms of like resolution or anything. This was actually like from the ground up ported to PS4, whereas 1.5 plus 2.5 was taken from the PS3 release and ported to PS4. Um, and just initially just given, I think, higher resolution and frame rate support, or no. Actually, yeah, I think so. Higher resolution and frame rate support, definitely higher frame rate support to 60 FPS, and that unfortunately broke things that did not work properly in 1, 2, and Birth by Sleep Final Mix, because they relied on the game logic running at 30 FPS. But yeah, 2.8, yeah, didn't really need anything in terms of fixing, so that's fine. 1.5 plus 2.5, I think I just hope that they fixed some, from what I understand, there's like some like weirdness with some of these ports. I think because they were probably a little bit of a rush job, or maybe they just only had like one or two people working on these, but like there were some weird things that like I hope that they fixed when porting these games to Xbox Series X and S. But yeah, and also on the PC versions as well, they run weirdly, from what I understand. At least 1.5 plus 2.5 does. So yeah, so in regards to these, they're completely up to you if you want to get them. If you already have the digital versions, you might as well get them for half off. So yeah, if you on Xbox and PS5, I should say, if if you have never played these games and you own an Xbox Series X and XS or PS5, these are the ultimate versions of the games to get. You're getting them for a good price. You're getting everything in terms of content and everything. So and you're gonna be able to play them 2 days early. So that's pretty good. If you want to get the physical copies, that's up to you. Um, so yeah. And I will say it, like, this is just a better deal than paying for Remind. I do wonder if the concert movie is going to be included in this port. Because it's not saying right here that it will be, but I hope it will be. Because it would be stupid if it didn't, but yeah. So yeah, so this is actually really cool. I wanted to just make this because I wanted to make this video because we have because of the audio I was seeing, the Japanese audio is finally going to be available to Switch 2 in the Games Before 3 officially. Modders were able to put the Japanese audio into the HD remixes a while ago when they were originally released on Epic Game Store and then Steam. So yeah. So this is just basically what I wanted to make the video on. I just wanted to do a discussion and everything. Will you be picking up either these new SKUs of the games on either Xbox or PS5? Will you get the games on Switch since they're officially being ported to Switch 100%? Or do you have either of the PC versions and are just laughing at console players? Yeah. I will say though, yeah, the fact that they're not letting us have it for free, if we already own the versions or the older versions is grimy, but at the very least, again, of two minds about it, at the very least there's a discount. But yeah, it is just a bit disheartening. I will say though, at the very least, they're learning their lessons because here's the thing. So in terms of the just to put this in perspective, when Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2. And 2.5 were released on Xbox back in 2020, I believe it was, they were still the same prices as the PS4 versions when they launched in 2017. That is $50 for 1.5 plus 2.5 and $60 for 2.8. That's not good. However, you look at the releases of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and 7 Rebirth. These are less than the prices of what they were on PS4. And these came a few years after. This came 6 years after, I think, or what, 5 years maybe? Actually, I think it was 6 years. Rebirth came 2 years after the PS4 release. So this is actually better. You're getting this for like $20 less than it was on PS4, $30 less than it is on PS5. You're getting this for $20 less than it is on PS5. If you get the digital deluxe edition, currently it's on a sale for $56, which is actually pretty good. But that is the full 70, which is whatever. This is currently on sale for $20, which is nice. Digital deluxe edition, this is $30, but normally it's 60. So why is that $20 more? That doesn't make any sense to me. That's stupid. But yeah, especially when like the digital deluxe edition, it doesn't really add a lot of content to it. But yeah. And then there's also Crisis Core Reunion. But yeah. Which currently they're having a Final Fantasy sale on Xbox. I imagine there's maybe one on PS5, but I don't know. But yeah, and also Final Fantasy 16, the base game is $50 as well, because this came like I think 2 years after the PlayStation release, right? And then this came, and then you have the complete edition, which is 70. So I don't understand the $20 price tag, especially when like, although this at the very least it justifies the cost a little bit more because this is actually like DLC that adds story content, whereas. Well, actually, no. It's right. Remake Intergrade, in terms of the DLC, it added the Yuffie episode, whatever the fuck it's called. And then 7 Rebirth doesn't have DLC. It has like I think a materia that you get from the deluxe edition, but it's not really worth it. I think that's just an early unlock. But yeah. But at the very least, Square Enix are learning, because later re-releases of these games on different platforms are benefiting from this, where like they're slightly cheaper for the other things. So I'm just putting that into perspective for you guys. It's yeah, Square Enix are learning, or they have learned. So yeah, I very much appreciate the CEO, the current CEO of Square Enix, pushing for the multi-platform agenda, because holy fuck, the fact that they were so heavily like sucking off Sony is just, and I understand it's like Japanese companies working together, but holy fuck, it just made no sense to me how they were doing things before. But thankfully, the current CEO is younger, and he understands more about how current console gaming is. So or gaming in general is. So I can at least appreciate this. So yeah, guys, are you gonna pick this version up? Are you laughing? Are you disappointed? Are you angry? Whatever, sound off in the comments. So yeah. So links in the description, all my shit. Subscribe if you want, and I'll see you guys in the next one.